The House will come to order. Today, the pledge will be led by Jackson Wilford, son of Representative Wilford, and Asher Giliana, guests of Representative Wilford.
Will you join the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Schiebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile, Armagost, Bacon, she's here, Bird, Bockenfeld, Basenecker, Bottoms, Bradfield, Bradley, Brown, Catlin, Doherty, Representative Doherty,
Excused.
DeGraff, Degree Kennedy, Dixon, Representative Dixon, Representative Dixon, excused, Duran, Representative Duran, Epps. Evans. Frizzell. Froelich. Garcia. Gonzalez Gutierrez.
I'll try to catch you.
Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Excused.
Hamrick. Hartsook. Herod. Holtorf. Judah. Joseph. Representative Joseph. She's here. Kip. Representative Kip is here. Leader. Lindsay. Linstead. Luck. Lukens. Lynch. Mabry. He's here. Marshall. Martinez. Morrow. Rep Morrow's excused. McCormick. Representative McLaughlin is excused. Michael Sinjane. Ortiz. Parenti. Puglisi. Ricks. Representative Ricks is excused. Charbini. Sirota. Snyder. Representative Snyder. Soper. Story. Taggart. Titone.
Might be worth checking.
Valdez. Representative Valdez
Excused.
is excused. Velasco. Vigil. Weinberg. What? Weissman. Wilford. Wilson. Winter. Woodrow. Young. And Madam Speaker.
Here. With 58, 60 present, 5 excused, we do have a quorum. Representative Wilford, good morning.
Good morning. Madam Speaker, I move that the Journal of Wednesday, February 1st, 2023 be approved and as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions, members. Representative Ortiz.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, you might see on your desk that you have a save the date. For March 1st, 2023, it's going to be a Disability Rights Advocacy Day. There are going to be several organizations, CCDC, ARC, independent living centers. We're going to be discussing legislation that we're bringing forward that is around basic civil rights and basic rights for people with disabilities. They're going to meet and greet you guys. They want to reach out to y'all, let them know that, yes, we are here, even if we're not the most active and involved. That more has to do with lack of access than anything else, and they're going to talk to you about that. So keep your schedules free on that day especially, but around that day as well.
Representative Amabile.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So business today, we are meeting, and we have 2 bills, and I'm going to be changing the order of the bills. So we will be hearing House Bill 23-1076 first, and then we will be here House Bill 23-1074 second, and we will be meeting in room 112 at 1:30. Thanks.
Thank you. Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, members. House Finance Committee members will be meeting 15 minutes after adjournment. And we'll be hearing bills 1081, 1084, and 1091. See you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Tatone.
Thank you, Madam Speaker's members. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, Joint Technology Committee, don't be late. We're going to talk about referred measures, budget requests, and consider draft legislation and public testimony, too. If somebody wants to go talk about any of this stuff, come at 7:30 and join us upstairs in the Senate Committee Room, Joint Technology.
Thank you. Representative Michelson-Shade and Assistant Minority Leader Puglisi.
Members, tomorrow is a very important day, so you don't want to miss this announcement. Tomorrow is Wear Red Day. So we want everyone to wear red for heart disease and
to raise awareness about how to take care of ourselves, especially during session, so that we don't have any health issues down the line. So please wear red tomorrow.
we'll have a tribute, and hopefully we can take a big red picture of all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Kipp.
Thank you. Good morning, Energy and Environment members. We are today going to be hearing Bill HB 23-1101 at 1:30 over in LSBA. Also, we are going to continue our educational series because today we will be learning about hydrogen. So come on over if you want to learn about hydrogen. And yesterday we learned about transmission lines. If anybody wants the slide decks, we're happy to share. Thank you.
Representative Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the House State Civic, Military, and Veteran Affairs Committee, we will be meeting in room LSBA upon adjournment to hear House Bill 1082 and House Bill 1073. See you upon adjournment.
Thank you. Representative Weinberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, everybody. Just to give you a reminder for your Valentines, tomorrow's the last day to get them out. Please get them over to my desk in the red box, and I'll take care of everything. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Representative Weinberg. So glad that tradition continues. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you for being the shepherd and custodian of tradition and decorum. I really appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
Today I have a special privilege. Most of you know the Colorado Association of School Boards is an organization in this state that works with all the school boards and school board members. School administration is a local affair. Those special districts elect their school boards because every school district is different. One size doesn't fit all. Well, I have the privilege of having a couple of my school board members here from my district. I'm going to ask Drew Axum and Dina Schrock to stand up over here for the Arickaree School, and let's welcome them with a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf, and thank you both for your service. Any further announcements and introductions? Members, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1006.
House Bill 1006 by Representatives Young and Doherty, also Senator Exum, concerning the notice requirements of employers regarding income tax credits and in connection therewith, requiring employers to notify employees of the availability of the federal earned income tax credit, the state earned income tax credit, the federal child tax credit, and the state child tax credit.
Members, we are on third reading of bills. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move House Bill 1006 on third reading, final passage.
Members, the motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 1006 on third reading, final passage. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. There he is. Thank you, Representative Catlin. Members with 43 aye, 20 no, and, oh, please close the machine first. Members with 43 aye, 20 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1006 is adopted. Representative Catlin. Oh, sorry, co-sponsors. Representative Catlin. Please close the machine. For those of our first years, when we are late on voting, we may, at my discretion, impose a fine. I am excited to say that those fines go to support our staff with a great end-of-year celebration. This was a first-time warning for everyone, and I do appreciate Minority Lynch starting us off with a small donation to the fine jar. Members, Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1001.
House Bill 1001 by Representatives Kipp and McLaughlin, also Senator Zenzinger, concerning expanding financial assistance for educator programs.
Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move House Bill 1001 on third reading, final passage.
The motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 1001 on third reading, final passage. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representatives Leader and Hartsook. Please close the machine. With 52 aye votes, 11 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1001 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1072.
House Bill 1072 by Representative Velasco, also Senator Roberts, concerning the compensation of civil defense workers.
Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move House Bill 1072 on third reading, final passage.
The motion before us is the adoption of House Bill 1072 on third reading and final passage. Members, we do have a comment. Representative Luck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I apologize for not coming down yesterday. I was working with some colleagues on a bill I was presenting in committee. And so I would have raised this as a question yesterday, but since I wasn't able to do that, I am just going to give notice as to why I will be a no vote on this bill. Because I wasn't able to have this dialogue, I fear that we are treating 2 classes of first responders differently under this bill. We are removing the volunteer aspect for the first class of people, the natural person who is registered with either the Emergency Management Office or a local organization for civil defense. We are allowing them to be paid, but we are not seemingly under this bill allowing for the physicians, healthcare providers, and other medical support to be paid. And so as a result of an equal protection issue, I will be a no today. If there are amendments or things that happen in the Senate, I will reconsider it if it comes back to this chamber. Thank you.
The motion before us again, members, is the adoption of House Bill 1006 on third reading and final passage. Oh, sorry, 1072. Forgive me. House Bill 1072. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 58 aye votes, 5 no, 2 excused, House Bill 1072 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the following bills be made special orders at 9:27 a.m. House Bill 1005, 1030, 1040, 1116, 1051, and 1021.
Seeing no objection, the bills listed by the Majority Leader will be made special orders at 9:27 a.m. Representative Michelson-Jeannet. Members, you have heard the motion. The House will now resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders. Representative Michelson-Jeannet will take the chair.
Thank you. The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the Majority Leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1005.
House Bill 1005 by Representatives Wilford and Titone, also Senator Jaquez Lewis, concerning changes to the new energy improvement program and in connection therewith, adding resiliency improvements and water efficiency improvements to the program, modifying the new energy improvement district's notice requirements, and removing the district's hearing requirement.
Representative Wilford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move House Bill 1005 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you. This bill will expand the Colorado Commercial Assessed Clean Energy Program to allow for financing of resiliency and water efficiency improvements. It will also streamline the closing and assessment process. The bill's good for jobs, our climate, and the economy, and I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Titone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
And it is an honor to serve with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this just does two things. It changes the what the project eligibility is, and it really changes the efficiency of how this program is enacted. So it takes away that 30-day notice period, switches it out with a notice of assessment and assessment lien, and this project will be able to get more projects funded sooner, and that's what we want. The Bankers Association has testified in favor of this bill. They believe in it, as well as the Energy Office is good for Colorado. So I ask for a yes vote on the bill.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise to speak in opposition to this bill. I fundamentally disagree with big government programs or big government being involved at all between businesses engaging in private transactions. On its face, CPACE appears to do just that. It puts a business that wants to move to green energy in touch with a private lender to help them reach that goal. But here's where it gets sticky. Financing repayment is facilitated through the county property tax assessment process. A voluntary assessment is placed on the building owner's property tax bill. Why do we need CPACE to turn the county treasurer into the tax collector? Why create this layer of government? Once again, if a private lender wants to loan a business money, I'm fine with that. That's how the private market works. I ask, why is the financing repayment facilitated through the county property tax assessment process? And what if the property goes into foreclosure? The tax lien sale is complicated, and who suffers? It leaves school districts, fire districts, and water districts holding the bag without expected monies that they need, and it creates financial instability in these areas. So once again, I urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is a privilege to serve with you.
And it is a privilege to serve with you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Louder. All right. First of all, I am not opposed to these projects or the goals, although I'd say that the statement the projects are good for the climate is purely speculative. I have a couple of problems. This is another example, and that is in the nature of being a matter of good governance. This is another example of the road to hell being paved with good intentions. Now that makes sense when you understand that Mark's stated goals were words I would destroy forever and godlike walk through the ruins of their kingdom. Hey, that's cool. But that's not important right now. The important thing is that we as a body do not become the paving crew with good intentions. This bill is not good governance. A 1% fee gives counties a perverse incentive. It encourages to take these loans, and ultimately these loans via the tax law are enforced by agents of the state with guns holding monopoly on the force over citizens. This monopoly of force encourages the extension of loans for projects that the scrutiny of the free market would normally reject. As stated in committee, the state industry co-partner is not necessary and does create a slippery slope, since collusion between the state and industry is fascism. I'm not calling anybody fascist. I'm not calling this bill fascist. I'm just merely pointing out this is a slippery slope, and it's something that we should avoid. I urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you've heard from my colleagues, we have no opposition to the objective of this, which is to promote environmental stewardism in a fantastic way. However, our concern is the mechanism by which we accomplish that goal. I don't think anyone in this chamber would argue against clean air, clean water, and taking steps to preserve those things. However, as the saying says, just because a thing ought to be done doesn't mean that the government is the entity to do those things. And what we see in this bill is an example of creating further layers of government and further layers of bureaucracy that insert government as a middleman into a process that can be accomplished more efficiently and as a better steward of resources through other means. I had to take some time to actually wrap my mind around how this program works. And so what I learned was this. County commissioners can opt their county into this program. Having opted their county into this program, any property owner within the county can apply for a public-private partnership loan through this program. That loan, however, rather than being repaid directly from the borrower to the lender, that loan is actually repaid by a lien placed on the property through the county treasury department. And so what we have is the county treasury department now becomes basically the muscle by which this loan can be repaid. And so you have a couple of issues, or at least I have a couple of issues with this. The first issue is that if this project is defaulted on, now you have local government being left holding the bag with a project that they're going to have to expend a ton of time and effort and energy and resources on. And that opportunity cost, which means the energy and the resources you spend in one area can't be spent in another. So that opportunity cost that the county is paying to recover this public-private partnerships default is going to be made up in other areas where they're not going to be able to afford to fund schools and roads and bridges and other elements of county infrastructure. Now, the second concern that I have with this is, again, we already have mechanisms by which these projects can be funded without inserting government as just another layer of bureaucracy. Up in Weld County, we have a program that was supposed to be funded through this project. My county ended up opting out. And guess what? This project, the Legends Future Sports Complex up in Windsor, it's still being built. There are other mechanisms by which these programs can be funded and other mechanisms that do not involve government inserting themselves into these different projects. So with that, I would just leave you with my final thought, which is we're not opposed in any way, shape, or form to the goal of this. We just don't think that the government is the best and the most efficient actor to do it. Just because a thing ought to be done doesn't mean the government is the entity to do that thing. Thank you.
Representative Viel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is a pleasure to serve with you.
And it is a pleasure to serve with you.
So members, I just want to speak in praise of this bill, of the program, and more specifically to the bill, the upgrade that it provides, that you are able to also use resiliency measures and water efficiency for this program. This has been an excellent program for our whole state. My own county is a little behind the curve, just opted in a couple of years ago, and already it's being used for a couple of new projects, and it's actually exactly the kind of program that my conservative county, El Paso County, has asked this legislature to deliver for them, to not give mandates and certainly not to give unfunded mandates, but to provide new opportunities for commercial interests to voluntarily access financial instruments that they otherwise don't have access to. So I just want to remind everyone in the chamber, nobody is being forced to use this instrument, just like nobody forces you to take out a line of credit or open a business or get a lien on any of your investments. But it is a really great opportunity for people who want to join the energy economy of the future and get ahead of the curve and use that to build their business. So I encourage a yes vote.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's an honor to serve with you.
And it is an honor to serve with you.
Members, I rise in opposition to this bill, although I do support the concept. I think it's good that we continue to evolve as a state and be able to have different mechanisms to be able to invest in different forms of energy, which is important. I like having lights on. I like being able to use all of the electric equipment that we have, laptops, cell phones. It seems like everything we use is turning to electricity. However, there's one problem that I have with new energy improvement districts, and that's it's very difficult to get out. It's kind of like Hotel California. Once you check in, you can't check out. And unless the county checks out as a whole and removes everyone in the county, as Weld County did, it's very difficult and very clunky for the individual landowner after they have paid off all the assessments and after they have no more obligations to the special improvement district to be able to opt out, which is why I offer Amendment L003 and ask that it be displayed to try to help with this process. It's the one from committee. I think you saw it in committee. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Amendment L003 has been moved and is properly displayed. Please proceed, Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So members, what this does is it says that after a district member pays the special assessment in full, the district member may withdraw as a member of the district if there are no other outstanding special assessments levied on the district member's eligible real property. And they have to submit written notice by certified mail to the board. The board then has, the board then has 30 days to be able to convince that member that withdrawing is maybe not a good idea. So it's an area to try to negotiate. If no more communication is made within those 30 days between the landowner and the board, then the landowner leaves the special district. If the landowner submits a certified letter back to the board, then they enter negotiations and that landowner may remain within the special district. So this is modeled a little bit after what we've seen with other withdrawal type contracts and agreements. So it's something that has existed in law. It's one that you need to have some sort of a mechanism after the landowner has paid off all of the encumbrances on the property, all of the assessments, to be able to withdraw. And I would ask for a yes vote. Thank
Is there
you.
any further discussion on Amendment L003? Representative Wilford.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just received this amendment and appreciate the intent, but I do want to ask for a no vote. The amendment's unnecessary. If the county commissioners in a particular county wish to withdraw from the district, that is entirely within their purview. This program is not set up for individual property owners to withdraw from the district. That's a county commissioner decision. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And again, please vote no.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And actually, to my colleagues' points, that's exactly why we need this amendment, is that if you're in a particular county that has not opted to withdraw from the special new energy improvement district, then that individual landowner has no way to opt out. So that's why it's just like Hotel California. Once you've opted in, even after you've paid off all your obligations, all your debts, there's no more encumbrances on your real property, you should be able to withdraw as an individual landowner.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to highlight that Representative Soper's amendment is thoughtful, carefully crafted, and in our caucus, as a trained lawyer, and with the skills that he has and the thoughtfulness that he brings forth, this amendment is well thought out and does have a place to protect what? To protect whom? And people in my caucus are champions of this. And I want to reiterate that, the private property owner. Your private property is your right and should be protected. Do municipalities, do counties, do special districts, does the state have the right, and how far can they go with respect to your ability as a private property owner to be in or out of anything? For those of us that stand strong and stand tall and say private property rights should be preeminent because they are the foundation for this country and built this country to what it is today, we would ask you to consider the value of the amendment, the thoughtfulness in preparing and putting this amendment forward, and why it does what it does. Now, I know culturally, our cultural norm is not to accept an amendment on second reading if it hasn't been presented to the prime sponsors. I do understand that. But sometimes because of the operational tempo of this building, that's a military term, I apologize, it's hard to get into everything and get everything done. And Representative Soper has brought forth a very thoughtful amendment that should have the consideration and attention of this chamber and should just not be discarded because of maybe a procedural foul. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there any further discussion? Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a privilege to serve with you.
And it is a privilege to serve with you.
I would like to rise in support of this amendment. I do disagree that El Paso County has asked for this type of project and this type of funding. I am also from El Paso County, and I can guarantee they have not. This is one issue that I have is anytime the state has expended money, Article 5, Section 34 of our Constitution discusses absolute control, and I think that's something that we must always remember. The fifth, I don't know why anybody we're hyping we're emphasizing the voluntary nature of this project, and I think that's fantastic. So I don't know why anybody would be opposed to voluntarily leaving. The Fifth Amendment precludes the surrender of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. And so if somebody wants to remove their property from this, being mandated to stay in for whatever reason really seems to be a violation of the Fifth Amendment, which would also be a violation of our own Constitution. Every time we sign one of these bills, although it seems very innocuous and seems like a good idea, again, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
To the bill, please.
Yes, ma'am. And every time we sign one of these bills, it is another layer, it is another thread that wraps around our neck and can be tightened by the government at any given point.
I don't know how that's to the bill.
Okay, so what this does is it creates a precedent for if you lose control, if this bill causes you to lose control of your property, then that creates a precedent for you to lose control of your property at another time. Don't ask for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee.
Representative Wilford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to renew my request for a no vote. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L003. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The noes have it. Amendment L003 is lost. To the bill. Seeing no further conversation, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1005. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. 1005 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, gavel. Sorry, forgot the gavel. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1030.
House Bill 1030 by Representatives Sirota and Soper, also Senator Henriksen, concerning a prohibition against requiring compensation to a healthcare staffing agency if a contracted healthcare facility hires the healthcare staffing agency's employee as a permanent employee of the healthcare facility.
Representative Sirota.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1030 and the Health and Insurance Report.
To the Health and Insurance Report. Representative Sirota.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In Health and Insurance, we made one amendment to change the applicability of the bill to be inclusive of all healthcare facilities instead of just nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And we also struck the enforcement mechanism, so no longer will the Department of Labor and Employment have regulatory oversight, but instead folks will be able to just have a private right of action. Ask for your support on the committee report, but Representative Soper.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I also want to add to what the effects of the committee report are from the amendment is it strikes the need for an appropriation.
Very good. The question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance Report. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment, the Health and Insurance Report is adopted. To the bill. Representative Sirota.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill seeks to address a larger issue that we have related to our nursing workforce in the state and the challenges that our healthcare facilities have seen as there has begun a shift from permanently employed staff to temporary nursing staff all across our healthcare facilities. When healthcare facilities contract with staffing agencies, oftentimes there is a provision in that contract that would require if a healthcare facility wishes to employ one of their temporary nurses, if that temporary nurse wishes to come onto that healthcare facility's staff permanently, then what is written into the contract is a requirement to pay something called a conversion fee or liquidated damages, which can rise to the amount of even $5,000. Last year, the state of Colorado addressed the non-compete clause portion of that you often find in these contracts. And this is one remaining piece to allow freedom in the economy for our workers to be able to move from employment conditions that they want to move to instead of being held hostage by these contracts, which also prevent our healthcare facilities from trying to stabilize our workforce and improve the safety and the well-being and the care of our patients across our healthcare facilities. Representative Soper, maybe you'd like to add in.
Representative Soper.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Sirota. Members, as many of you know, I sit on the Delta Hospital Board. and I'm very close to all the hospitals on the western slope. And one thing that we saw during the pandemic is a shortage in people going into the healthcare workforce. We currently have a problem with the healthcare workforce. We aren't training enough workers for the number of retirees that are going to come out of healthcare because of the baby boom bubble over the next few years. And during the pandemic, these staffing agencies would poach nurses from hospitals and lure them away by paying 40% more. And then they would turn around and charge that same hospital 400 times more. Stated a different way, 400% more. Let's say that traveling nurse got tired of going from hospital to hospital assigned by the company. They wanted to go back to their first employer. Well, all of a sudden, after they quit employer number one and they want to go work for employer number two, employer number one tells employer number two, you owe me $5,000 to $50,000. That's the range that we saw in these fees. That's a restraint on the free market. That's a restraint on the free movement of people to be able to practice their chosen occupation. It's unfair that you can quit one employer, you can even be fired by that one employer, and still have a restriction on your ability to practice your particular profession. Why can't you quit one employer and go to work for the other one free of charge? It's a barrier to the free market. It's a barrier to competition. And hospitals told us over and over again they had their workers stolen, and then to try to get them back, they had to pay this ransom fee. And after they paid the ransom fee, because they knew that the long term made sense, that when they did the math, it may have taken a year to actually have the return on investment of bringing that worker back. They then have to hit all of our insurances with a bump because Medicaid's not paying more, Medicare's not paying more. If you're a small hospital, you're probably not going to get more out of some of the big health insurance carriers. So you bump up the people that are paying cash. And it affects all of us because of that. This practice is against conscience, which is why for health care, we're asking in this bill that it no longer be allowed. And I'd ask for a yes vote.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1030 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1030 is adopted. Gavel. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1040.
House Bill 1040 by Representatives Leader and Frizzell, also Senators Cutter and Pelton R., concerning updates regarding Prader-Willi syndrome.
Representative making their way to the dais. Who would like to begin? Representative Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to serve with you.
And it is a pleasure to serve with you.
We move House Bill 1040 and ask for an aye vote. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Today we bring before you House Bill 23-1040, a bill making a technical change to statute to remove outdated and inconsistent language related to Prader-Willi syndrome. Prader-Willi syndrome is a rare genetic disorder resulting from an abnormality on the 15th chromosome. People diagnosed with Prader-Willi experience a variety of physical, medical, mental health, and behavioral symptoms, some of which can be life-threatening without necessary support and intervention. In 2018, the General Assembly passed Senate Bill 18074, designate Prader-Willi syndrome to the list of persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. At the time, current law did not guarantee that an individual who had Prader-Willi syndrome would be eligible to the services and supports available to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This bill revised the definition of intellectual and developmental disabilities to include Prader-Willi syndrome. And with that, I will turn it over to my co-prime, Rep. Frizzell.
Rep. Frizzell.
Madam Chair, it's a pleasure and honor to serve with you.
And a pleasure and honor to serve with you as well.
When Senate Bill 18074 was codified into statute, a portion of the original legislative declaration remained in statute. Quote, the state of Colorado does not currently recognize Prader-Willi syndrome as an intellectual and developmental disability. Unquote. This statement is in direct contradiction to other portions of statute, state regulation, and the Home and Community-Based Services waiver definition of intellectual and developmental disability, which have been amended to include Prader-Willi syndrome. Striking this section of statute will ensure there is no confusion or misunderstanding that indeed Prader-Willi syndrome is included in the definition for intellectual and developmental disabilities. Additionally, this bill removes language about the number of people diagnosed with Prader-Willi syndrome. The use of these numbers in the original bill were intended to demonstrate the global and statewide number of people impacted by the disorder. However, this number will change over time, and removing the language now prevents future legislation to amend statute repeatedly.
Representative Leader.
We urge you to vote yes on this bill to ensure the ongoing access to long-term services and supports for people with Prader-Willi syndrome. Thank you.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1040. All those, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1040 is adopted. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of House Bill 1116.
House Bill 1116 by Representatives Hartsook and Doherty, also Senators Rodriguez and Baisley, concerning insurance contracts for healthcare services that involve electronic payments to a healthcare provider.
Representative Hartsook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move that House Bill 1116 and the Health Insurance Committee report.
To the committee report.
To the committee report.
No, I'm telling you to speak now to the committee report.
You're good. You're good.
Oops. Madam Chair, we'd also like, there was an amendment that was in the committee, and the amendment was simply a procedural that we adjusted to ensure that everything falls under the insurance commissioner. Before it was bifurcated, and now it sticks under the insurance commissioner as we had it, and it was a unanimous agreement on that. Thank you.
Representative Doherty.
We asked.
Representative Hartsook.
We asked for an aye vote on the committee report.
Okay, the question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Health and Insurance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Health and Insurance Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill prohibits a contract between a health insurance carrier and a licensed healthcare provider from restricting the form or method of payment the carrier uses to make payments to the provider, so that the only acceptable payment method is a credit card payment, and we urge an aye vote.
The Representative Hartsook.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As my colleague just pointed out, the key piece of this bill is insurance companies have created a credit card, and they are hitting the small business providers with about a 2% fee that cuts into their profit margin. This is what is hurting small businesses. This is what is driving up the cost of healthcare. We want to make that to where the small business providers aren't hit with those additional fees. That's the sole purpose of this bill, is to make sure that the free market stays out there and the small businesses can survive. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1116 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1116 is adopted. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of House Bill 1051.
House Bill 1051 by Representatives Lukens and Holtorf, also Senators Roberts and Pelton R., concerning the continuation of high-cost support mechanism funding for rural telecommunications providers and in connection therewith, aligning the repeal date of such high-cost support mechanism funding with the sunset repeal date of the high-cost support mechanism.
Representative Lukens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move House Bill 1051 and the Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee report.
To the committee report.
In committee, we ran a technical amendment, and we are pleased it passed unanimously, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Lukens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today we bring before you House Bill 23-1051 as amended, support for rural telecommunications providers. This bill will be crucial to closing the digital divide and ensuring everyone within our rural communities are reaping the benefits of fast and stable internet. The bill proposes to align the current high-cost funding end date of December 1, 2023 with the program sunset date of September 1, 2024 as part of the complete sunset review process. The high-cost fund is an important mechanism for rural providers, and given the upcoming sunset review at the end of the year, we believe it makes sense to continue the funding until the review has been completed. I urge you to support House Bill 1051 as amended so rural residents in Colorado have access to fast, reliable internet and broadband.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As many of you know, Representative Lukens represents the farthest northwest part of this state. And I, in turn, coincidentally, represent the farthest northeast part of this state. Most of our district is rural. And when there's a title on a bill that says rural, we that represent rural Colorado are going to get on it. And so I'm very proud to be on this bill with Representative Lukens. But I want to point out that in committee, there's now 12 communities that receive direct benefit from this alignment with respect to this high-cost funding. Now, they always say the last mile is the hardest mile to complete in telecommunications. And this particular funding helps sustain, in very, very small communities, their telecommunications capabilities, which still, oh, by the way, throughout Colorado, there still are many shortcomings. Our broadband build-out needs a lot of work, without question. But this is a sustainment piece. This bill sustains that, and I'm just going to name a few, not all. In fact, I'll just focus on my district right now, and maybe that's not fair to my colleague, but I'm going to talk about little communities like Nunn, Colorado, Weld County, Pete's, Colorado, Pete's Bulldogs, Logan County, and also Roggen, Colorado. Now, if you travel the I-76 corridor like I do every week, you go right by Roggen, Colorado. And also an even smaller community, and that's in, I believe, East Weld County, by the way, but I'm also going to talk about another little community, Willard, Colorado, in Logan County. I've been to every one of these places, but the point is they are very small. And they need this capability, particularly as we strive to get at-home and remote workforce capability in rural Colorado. So that's the primary reasons that I'm 110% behind this bill. It's an alignment. The amendment added another, thanks to Representative Catlin's insight, added another community that was overlooked originally. And I'd like to thank everybody that worked on this bill, and I encourage an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I stand in support of this bill. This bill not only helps my district, but it's a huge help to rural Colorado. The availability of reliable, affordable, and fast internet is key to the growth of rural Colorado, and it helps our constituents apply for tech jobs which otherwise they wouldn't be able to. And it allows them to stay in their communities, because that's one thing that we see. There are tons of people leaving their communities in rural Colorado, and we do want to keep rural Colorado whole. It's important to all of us. And it puts our children on the same even playing field with their urban cousins. So I stand supporting this bill and ask you to vote yes. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Bottoms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually speaking against this, but for some very specific reasons. I do like the concept of this, and I pastored churches, 2 different churches for 15 years in rural communities. And so I understand the importance of getting this technology that is really minimized to the corridor, really, the tech corridor. And so we want to get this out there, but the problem I have with this is more of a good governance mentality. We're using state monies to affect free markets in a lot of ways, and I stand against that on a principled reason. But with that being said, this industry is so controlled that we already have this socialist control over that keeps us from having a free market already within this context. So I feel like I'm torn here between, I don't like the attack on the free market system, but I also know that free market system is completely controlled, and most of those resources go into the high concentrated areas. And so I am conflicted, but on a principled value of free markets, I do have to stand against this.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1051 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1051 is adopted. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of House Bill 1021.
House Bill 1021 by Representatives Snyder and Weinberg, also Senator Van Winkle, concerning state licensing authorities' ability to act regarding the movement of marijuana in certain circumstances to protect the public.
Representative Weinberg?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a good government practice that
Wait,
helps...
you need to move the bill first.
Don't yell at me.
I'm sorry. Let me say it softly. You need to please move the bill first.
That was very pleasant.
Yes. Representative Snyder.
I just want to say what an extreme pleasure it is to serve with you, Madam Chair.
Extreme pleasure to serve with you as well.
And with that, I will move House Bill 23-1021.
To the bill.
To the bill.
I second.
No second necessary.
I'm a very good politician, in case anybody was wondering.
Representative Weinberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is a good government practice that helps safeguard evidence during an investigation into an alleged violation of the state's marijuana laws. I rise in support, and I ask everyone to do the same, please.
Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill really just gives a little stronger enforcement authority to the MED, which is, of course, a division of DOR. Currently, they're limited to an administrative hold, which is not a very firm thing. It can be held up for months. And what this bill will do will give them more express authority to order an embargo of a tainted or a product that fails a test. And so the embargo will require them to hold it in their secure facility. They do have due process. There is a hearing opportunity coming up. It really is just a small change, but really important, I think, as we see the evolving nature of this industry. It's important that we stay ahead of it and that we have the ability to get in and make sure there aren't unsafe products getting out into the public. So, Madam Chair, we do have an amendment today. So I would move L001 and ask that it be properly displayed.
I move. He said I would.
Amendment L001 has been sort of properly moved and displayed. Not I would move, I move. Go ahead, Representative
Would
Snyder.
you like me to restate the motion?
No, it's kosher. Representative Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So, folks, this amendment really came as a result of working with stakeholders. I think some folks were a little concerned that, things could get delayed and maybe products would be unnecessarily held for a period longer than is necessary. So all this amendment really does is ensure that adequate safeguards exist to ensure that the licensees have due process and that the enforcement mechanism utilized in this bill will not exceed the parameters of what we're trying to do. It keeps us online. It makes sure that as they are preparing and have this hearing, that it won't be delayed and that we won't unnecessarily force them to hold a tainted product and then allow it to proceed into the disposition stage. So we want to make sure that this bill is used for the intended purpose and doesn't lead to overreach or abuse. So I would ask for an aye vote on the amendment L001.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L001? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L001. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Amendment L001 is adopted. To the bill. Representative Snyder.
So it's a good bill. It gives a great tool that's much needed for the MED and the DOR. I think with the amendment we just took, we have a good buy-in from the entire industry. And I think it's really gotten us to a good place. And we would ask for an aye vote on 1021.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1021 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The aye has it. House Bill 1021 as amended is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. The committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Schiebel, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report as under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof and making the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1005, 1021 is amended, 1030 is amended, 1040, 1051 is amended, 1116 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Michelson-Janay. The motion before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. There are no amendments at the desk. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 45 aye, 18 no, and 2 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Any further announcements and introductions? Seeing none, we do have an announcement. Representative Vigil will replace Representative DeGree Kennedy on finance for today only. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.